For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Coming up on the broadcast, we focus on facing a crisis of truth. We'll also be hearing from David Troy Charles, and we have a whole lot more, including a few surprises between now and 2 o'clock this afternoon on this, the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. It is on Power 97.9 FM, the NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. Don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click the notification bell. Amanda is already on set, so she's going through some of the comments in the chat room, and she'll be having some reports to share with the wider audience, and I'll be interacting with you later. When you call at 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. We hope you're having yourself an enjoyable day today. I forgot to tell you from yesterday that Pato, who is a news spinner, of course, well-known honorary member of this family, he has got his new phone. And Amanda was looking at me as if I had some bad news. No, it's not the bad news. It's good news. And Pato got a brand new phone, and that is from a fellow news spinner. So thank you so much for that generosity that you extended to Pato over the weekend. Viewfort is in the spotlight for a number of reasons. It is not because we know the outcome of the next general election as far as this seat is concerned. Remember, Dr. Kenny Anthony won it by a little over 1,500 votes. But I believe right now you have a level playing field in that, from my perspective, all the way in the capital, Castries, that the people of Viewfort will be very circumspect and will take a lot of things into consideration in determining who is their next MP. Now, for them, I do not believe that the task will be an easy one, because the St. Lucia Labour Party candidate, Danny Butcher, will be selling himself to the voters there, selling his ideas. I'm told that he was also a former chairman of the campaign of the incumbent, Dr. Kenny Anthony. And also, Dr. Anthony will definitely play a leading role in selling Danny Butcher to the voters of Viewfort South. On the other hand, you have the NewsSpin endorsed candidate for Viewfort South, better known as APA, but his christened name is David Troy Charles. Really sound like an MP, you know. David Troy Charles, MP for Viewfort South. Doesn't sound too strange. And you have the United Workers' Party's Liana Lady Lee Johannes Paul. And so when you take Dr. Kenny Anthony's record into consideration, whether you're living in the other side of St. Lucia, you're living on the West Coast, Soufrière, whether you're on the East Coast, whether you're on the North in Gros-Islet, it is not one that is spectacular because of the number of years that he spent representing, and you have to put representing in brackets, the people of Viewfort South in the Parliament of St. Lucia. I mean, unbroken years, 1997 up until now. You're talking about 28 years, almost 30 years. And the people demonstrated that affinity towards Dr. Kenny Anthony, and if you want to use another word, that loyalty, unbroken loyalty to Dr. Kenny Anthony. And the big question is, I mean, what do they have to show for it? And people have been calling this broadcast for a few years now, complaining about the lack of certain amenities, complaining about a comatose Viewfort port that demonstrated a lot of potential and continues to do so. I mean, it can only demonstrate potential for a particular period. After that, let's say after what? 5 years, especially in sports, 2-3 years, you're still displaying potential. There comes a time when you have to deliver. And unfortunately, Dr. Kenny Anthony, I don't know what would have been the encumbrance or what inhibited him, but he does not have any such reason to suggest that he could not have provided certain things to the people of Viewfort because he was not in a position to do so. He was the MP for 28 years, still the MP now. Prime Minister for 15 years. Minister with responsibility for finance for a similar number of years. And there are many an MP, whether their party is in government or in opposition, who like to blame the finance minister of the day for their shortcomings, for not being able to construct a human resource development center, for not constructing proper roads in their constituency, and things of that nature. But Dr. Kenny Anthony did not face those challenges. Even now, as a backbencher, his party is in office. And Viewfort South, unfortunately, has been toiling. And the latest major challenge that they faced would have been the spate of violence which plagued that constituency over a particular recent period, which resulted in the government having to call upon the regional security system to send personnel to Viewfort in particular to maintain law and order. So against that background, I'm still willing to say that the people of Viewfort South, they have a challenge on their hands to determine who is best placed to represent their interest. Whether it is Danny Butcher, who is an acolyte of Dr. Kenny Anthony, or whether it is David Troy Charles, better known as APA, independent candidate, or Liana Lady Lee Johannes Paul of the United Workers' Party. Now, people have stained Viewfort South and attached a particular label to the people of that part of St. Lucia. It is that they're not industrious, and to be blunt, what is being said, that you people of Viewfort are lazy. Now, I hate to believe that, because Viewfort, from my vantage point, has produced some very capable individuals in academia, in sports, in industry, business, you name it. I think what Viewfort has been suffering from over the last several decades is a lack of leadership. The proper leadership that would have stimulated the passions and the ambitions of the people of that constituency. I mean, there's a gentleman who was on Facebook just recently, and we have the clip, we'll play it in just a bit, saying that the lack of nightlife and economic activity over in Viewfort South, it is because people in that part of the island are not industrious. I don't buy that. I think if you create the enabling environment, if you provide the amenities, if you have an atmosphere where people want to go out and want to patronize, want to go out for dinner, etc., then the citizenry or the residents will have no choice but to provide the people who are going out and so on with that avenue whereby they can socialize, they could go to a restaurant, they could walk through the community, and then you have nightlife and so on. And the restaurants will open, you have gas stations that will open, folks from the north will want to travel to the south of the island and spend weekends there, etc. But Viewfort people were failed in terms of not having the amenities and creating the environment for that kind of prosperity to take place. If all those killings, all the shootings that occurred just a few months or years ago, you expect that people want to invest their monies in establishing businesses there? There was also another Facebook Live in circulation just about a fortnight ago, making reference to another part of St. Lucia, and that is Marcia, described a few years ago as the capital of Castries. Somebody said it's basically now a ghost town. You blame the people of Marcia if they do not want to operate their businesses on late evenings into the wee hours of the morning. There are so many establishments, was it the late train, a number of businesses that used to operate 2 and 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning in Marcia. And I'm sure the same would have happened a few years ago over in Viewfort. So let's listen to that individual saying, don't blame the government for Viewfort being in that kind of comatose state. Blame the people there who do not see the necessity to expand their businesses and to operate on late evenings.
Viewfort don't have nightlife? So who's supposed to put the nightlife in Viewfort? Not Viewfortians? Huh? What you talking about, Gassan? These are things that private individuals supposed to be doing. You check? Everywhere else in St. Lucia have nightlife. Well, almost everywhere else. Everywhere else you'll pass, you'll see a St. Lucian with a tea boutique passing through the villages and the communities. Why are you seeing that in Viewfort? Viewfort don't have nightlife? So who's supposed to put the nightlife in Viewfort? Not Viewfortians? Huh? What you talking about, Gassan? These are things that private individuals supposed to be doing. You check? Everywhere else in St. Lucia have nightlife. Well, almost everywhere else. Everywhere else you'll pass, you'll see a St. Lucian with a tea boutique passing through the villages and the communities. Why are you seeing that in Viewfort?
Your opinion, sir, but I think it's not by accident that there isn't any nightlife over in Viewfort. Let us hear now from David Troy Charles, better known as APA, the NewsSpin endorsed candidate for Viewfort South.
So Alvan, Kenny and Tony, next time y'all meet in the house or wherever y'all meet, I want y'all to concentrate and put in a joining road from OJ to Cantonment, Rasta. A bridge and we over. It then started on the OJ side already, so Kenny, if you'd have to finish it on the Cantonment side, get working, man, Kenny and Tony, man. Do something for Viewfort, man. You understand? You remain a couple of months, Kenny and Tony. Do it, man. Because you demand you want a candidate in Danny Butcher, and they give you a candidate. Do something for Viewfort before you go, Dr. D. Kenny and Tony. Give us a joining road from OJ to Cantonment. Give us a joining road from Cedar Heights to Uranora Orchard. Give us a joining road from Black Bay to Uranora Orchard. And a joining road from Cedar Heights to the St. Jude's Highway. That's what we need in Viewfort. We need a west side road. You understand? Open the road west side so we can get an ease up in Viewfort. You'll have us close up in darkness in Viewfort, Rasta. We need air, man. We need light, Rasta, to breathe in Viewfort, man. Bring things in Viewfort, Rasta. Make the things happen. You understand? Cleanliness is next to godliness, Rasta. And every bus stand you pass by in Viewfort, stinker P, Rasta. Tout bus stand you pass for near 230. Oh, the poeti femme. Edi, ce que tu moutais, capissé les bastons fait pour gaz. Pour être femme, car Edi, ce que tu moutais à côté, yo passe à couper pisser, because top moun kay ouais yo ka pisser. Yo ka tout dans quoi, Edi pense la mouter et juste pisser comme homme. C'est quand bay là nous voulons vivre fort. C'est pour ça nous ka supporter les bavier fort. Nous pas dans bus terminal, Pligo, bus route là. Nous pas dans bus terminal. Qui a fait la vie pour messieurs? Nous pas ni doc. Touriste calendrier dans l'airport nous. Après avoir toute misère. Les Hollande, la pluie soleil, pas faute nous. C'est touriste à pour descendre la pluie, la pluie fort rasta. Pour les touristes descendre les plaines kachay courir autour de Uranora Airport et les touristes autour de Uranora Airport about toute la place là yo ka still mouiller dans building là et Philippe JP aide gouvernement so après toute sa chasse de élever airport là ça pas même l'argent c'est ici qui a élevé airport là ça taxe nous ka pour les monde qui ka travel for airport là qui a élevé airport là ça c'est normalement double ça c'est toute pile foundation yo dit yo ka rénover airport là So là just vient un capac là, mettez yon des solar panels un capac là pour garage bay, mais ça va faire comme ça. Mais ça va expect comme ça pour générer assez courant by airport là, même pas. Vous comprenez? Me ka dire ah ouais, pas bon vieux fort. Il pas bon pièce. Il pas bon vieux fort, nous pas ni recreation vieux fort. Nous pas ni socializing vieux fort. Nous pas ni rien vieux fort rasta. Vieux fort c'est juste lever, vieux journée à passer. Si you can hustle, so on a step là, et also un tweet, Rasta. Nous pas ni night life, nous pas ni day life.
You just heard there from David Troy Charles, better known as APA, and the NewsSpin endorsed candidate for Viewfort South in the upcoming general election. Let us hear now from the United Workers' Party candidate for that constituency. Her name is Liana Lady Lee Johannes Paul.
I have a question to ask you. How many of the promises made in the 2021 manifesto by the Senusha Labour Party, how many of those things, those empty promises, were fulfilled? They promised us to resume the construction of the administrative complex to include a performing arts center. Was that accomplished? They promised to design and construct a boardwalk from the fisheries complex to the Viewfort market. Was that accomplished? They promised to rehabilitate the roads in Cedar Heights, Larishes, and Cantonment. Then again, I asked the question, was that accomplished? Right now, roads in Cedar Heights, particular roads in Cedar Heights, selectively, yes, and I say selectively, are being constructed. And the people know why those particular roads have been selected. I say no more on this. Have they vested ownership of house lots for the residents of Viewfort Town Cantonment? These, in the 2021 manifesto, have not been accomplished. Sunday's presentation was no different. Nothing different. It was a speech full of platitudes, recycled promises, and empty rhetoric. A speech so lacking in substance, it felt like deja vu. The same song, same dance, same script, but read by a different cast. That is what we received on Sunday. Mr. Butcher's address to the people of Viewfort was, to put it blatantly, more of the same, nothing different. Mr. Butcher was introduced by none other than Dr. Kennedy Anthony, the man who has represented Viewfort South for the last 28 years. The man who made promises after promises, many of them never kept. The man who told us the South would rise. Have you all seen that happen? Not at all. The man who told us Viewfort would become a hub of economic growth. But look around you. Low gardien Viewfort, dima kisa uwe, anye. Youth unemployment in Viewfort is more than 50%. We are the third poorest community in the entire country. Can you imagine that the second major town in St. Lucia is the third poorest community? The town is practically a ghost town. L'emploi marché en ville Viewfort après midi à ce particular jour. It is a ghost town, especially on a Wednesday afternoon. Basic infrastructure is decaying. Roads are impassable. Investments are drying up. Viewfort South is one of the only constituencies and major towns without a community center, without a public library, and without a safe space for recreation. After 28 years of elective representation, 15 years being Prime Minister, this is the legacy of Dr. Kennedy Anthony. My question is, and now they are being told, we have been told to embrace the student. Are you going to embrace his student? The man he calls his protege? Is that someone you will rely on? I don't think so. That should send chills down the spine of every Viewfortian who has lived through decades of broken promises. Most of the so-called vision is recycled from the United Workers' Party's past plans. Nothing new. The road development, the new access routes, the infrastructure upgrades, all projects long proposed by the United Workers' Party and later stalled or killed by the Senusha Labour Party when they came into office. C'est ça yo fait. Yo choue a chaise project la quitte la pour janvier 4. Remember the plan to construct the road to link Lower Viewfort to the highway? That was the United Workers' Party vision. What did the SLP do? That is a big question. They built a laundry facility right in the intended path of that road, where, yes, it was built right in the intended path of that road. And not only that, the facility they built is non-functional. You just construct a laundry, mete a go by concrete and mitashi mea, eki feme, anye paka fetepi, I just feme. Less than 400 feet away, there is another already existing laundry plant doing the same job. So diwa jave for puchi, you block shimea, pu mete a laundry la, ek nuhani a lot laundry, kafe mem to availa, dimwe puchi. So now Mr. Butcher wants to sell us the same idea all over again, pretending that it is new. Lots of hot air was spewed. We need results after 28 long years. If it had not been done then, do you think it will be done now? I don't think so.
You just heard there from the United Workers' Party candidate for Viewfort South, and that is Liana Lady Lee Johannes Paul. Let me hear from you right now at 452-2979. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. 716-2026. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air.
Good day, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, for people like me, I'm not that old, but I think I have enough years. This failure, before I go any further, let me just say this. I am from Mikud South, Tim, and I am one of the persons who's on the UWP constituency branch. And I would like to denounce something that happened in Mikud South. We UWPs do not go around destroying the opposition's labor, their flags, their signs, nothing like that. And I realized one of Haraxin's her poster was torn in the Deriso Gap. It was ripped in half. I'd just like to say to our people, look, we do not engage in such. I do not even think it was one of us who did that, but you never know, Tim. Anything is possible. Mm-hmm. One thing I know, the UWP supporters of today are not the ones we had 25 years ago. The tolerance are not the same. So it is very possible that you can get those things, but we do not preach those things, Tim. We do not want to be part of it. We do not even mention the lady's name in our campaign. So for sure, I would like to denounce this thing and hope that it does not happen, especially in our constituency again. But Tim, to go back on the Kenny Anthony's case, we, for the longest while, this thing about Kenny and Viewfort goes way deeper than the people of today knows, Tim. Because if you remember when they had all of those factory shells in Viewfort, run by the Koreans and those people, Tim. When Kenny Anthony came in 1997, now these factory shells, people will tell you, oh, they were not paying and whatever, but the target employment of those factory shells was, Tim, the people that probably uneducated people that did not complete school, people you would find those factory shells. So they were getting employed, Tim. Making some money that they did not have to beg somebody for. When Kenny Anthony came in 97, Kenny Anthony increased the taxes on these Koreans, and he did a whole disaster with those factory shells, Tim, to the point where all of them left. And today we have local businesses and other people in them, Tim. But I am telling you, this was the first thing Kenny did in his quest to destroy Viewfort. Kenny Anthony, the duck So remember, we have a dock in Viewfort, a port in Viewfort where it can take 10 times more containers than what Castries have. Tim, you can put hundreds of containers flat down without putting them one on top of the other in Viewfort. Okay? Right now, if you pass by Castries, well, you pass in there all the time, you will see containers stacked up in 4 and 5 rows. You do not have to do that in Viewfort, Tim. You have the space for that. Okay? They had the crane, which had some issues. Kenny was in office at the time. Instead of replacing the crane or fixing it, he diverted all the major cargo ships to Castries. Recently, Castries had a crane. Recently, I went there. I saw a brand new one there, Tim. So how could you replace the one that was in Castries and you can't replace the one that was in Viewfort? Now, there's a whole list of stories behind that I cannot vouch for, so I will not say. Tim, when we had Rosary in Viewfort, that was bringing in cars. Remember the skettles, the little Toyota Corollas, they used to call them skettles. Every young man could buy a little car. Kenny and Tony got jealous, I would say. He put a $10,000 levy, environmental levy on those used vehicles. He did not put 5, Tim. He put 10. It was afterwards when Stevenson King came, they put it to, if it has more than 5 years, you pay in 6, and if it has less than 5 years, you pay in 4, something thereabout. You understand me? Kenny and Tony, okay? There is no structure in Viewfort. I am lying, thing. Let me put it straight. Let me say the fact. The only thing I saw Kenny and Tony build in Viewfort, apart from footpaths and some roads, is I think they built an ICT center somewhere where the old police station was in Viewfort. Okay? Apart from that, there's nothing up. Oh, the square too. He built a square with his sign in the middle of it in Viewfort. Apart from that, there is nothing that will generate revenue for people in Viewfort. For donkey years, the only thing that was able to generate revenue, like I've said before, is Ojo Labs. I tell when they were doing the airport, when the DSH was there, when Fresh Start was on St. Louis, a whole bunch of local people, that was what that generated revenue in the South, Tim. For donkey years, we've not had any new project or businesses generating revenue in the South, apart from the normal Massey stores and, other small shops. The government, Kenny and Tony, have never touched Viewfort South economically, kept them in his pocket. And that is a deliberate thing to keep the people dependent on government in Viewfort, so that by keeping them dependent, he's keeping them in his pocket. And that was exactly what Kenny did. Kenny is a failure. His successor is no different, because as far as I understand, he was his chairman all along. And I wonder how he was able to be his chairman while he was a public servant. It's amazing how these things happen underneath the Labour Party. But Tim, that is what I'd like to say today. People of Viewfort need to know that Kenny Anthony was a failure. He's still a failure, and he will always be a failure, because Viewfort is nothing where. Viewfort is no different from any other village in St. Lucia that is as poor as it is. Have a good day, Tim.
You too, sir. Thank you so much for calling. Let's take another call this time on the landline. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Team, good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
And good afternoon to Amanda.
Good afternoon, caller.
Poleon, let me say that Kenny and Tony have represented Viewfort for 28 years, as a MP. And he did a free term as Prime Minister. I'm correct? Now,
but I said that at the commencement of the program.
Now, Tim. So John representing Mikut South, and you know that well. For a number of years, Tim, I couldn't get the amount of a good while. Both Mikut North and Mikut South. I think his last representative was in Mikut South, prior to his death. But I can still point on my hand and to show what Sir John did to that constituency, Poleon.
I think it was Mikud North, eh?
Mikud South prior to his death. It was Mikud South.
No. Wasn't it Asin James? That was the MP at the time?
Asin James had 3 consecutive 15 years as a rep. 2 opposition, one in 2006 when his party was in government.
Okay, so his daughter, Janine Compton Antoine, right? When she became the MP, it wasn't Mikud North she contested?
Mikud North.
Yeah, so she was contesting on the seat that was held by her father. So I think the last time Sir John was an MP was for Mikud North, not for Mikud South.
No,
anyway.
Tim, you would have to check that. You would have to check that.
Continue.
Because I'm living in Mikud South, so what I'm telling you there, that is fact. Now, what I'm saying, Tim, when I said I can point fingers at things that Sir John did to Mikud South, I'm referring to that constituency. Tim, we have one of the worst water shortage in that constituency. You may have heard that before. We used to share our water supply with Tiroshe and neighboring community. Okay? And in fact, prior to that, we didn't have pipe-borne water in that constituency. So Sir John was the one that gave us when it was Wassa and not Wasco. So I can say, and to not just a long story, but I just want to get that correct. And I can say Sir John did prior to the feeder roads with the bananas in the forest to Degatier, Tiroshe, Maho, Millet, even where Sir John had his farm team. I can say Sir John did a hell of a work in that constituency for the people. But then looking at Viewfort South, and I continue to, now if Danny Butcher is a young fella, I know the guy. Danny Butcher, if he want to do something different, should not even go when he have meeting and mention his predecessor. Because would make him look good at all. And like your first caller, Kenny Anthony have nothing to show than the big square he built there, and which we all know there are a lot of things that could have been done on the square. In terms of, activities, particularly for the young people, you have your family, you could bring them there during the weekend, have a little time, a little game or something. Just a square sitting there with nothing. So Danny Butcher as a young man, I think he would have a lot of to do, but he need to be careful. Do not try to capitalize or mention names that, he's going to where his predecessor left. That is where he will be, active and always mention his name for a man that have not done nothing. In fact, prior to that, Kenyan was not even from Viewfort anyway. So I am saying that the people of Viewfort South, which team you have been every now and then, and I must say bravo to you, mentioned in that constituency all the time in your program. It have been escalated, it have been named as a crime escalating zone or area, whatever it is. And then Viewfort have been very quiet for now, I must say. Very quiet and calm prior to other small little communities. Even in Mikud South, there's murders in that little community, which is something I have never seen today in my life. And then right now, that Viewfort South, which was one called the economic development, I think it was labeled as something. There was something that they had given them when the free zone, the 11th free building in the free zone was built. It was called as a economic whatever crime or whatever it was named at. So I am right now, and if I had now, I have heard you mention APA. It was a NewsSpin candidate, or NewsSpin gave him endorsed candidate for independent. Well, you could say your thing, Tim, but if I were to have a vote, I would have to vote somebody. I would have preferred to give it to Lady Lee. Definitely. Because you have tried the Labour Party here for years and eons and there's nothing changed. And to make it very sad that Danny Butcher come under the very same legacy of Kenny. So if I were to vote in Viewfort South, I would have voted Liana Johannes Paul because she has never been into politics. And even when you listen to the press conference that you played there, she sounds very articulate, meaningful. I would have tried somebody totally different, not a representative of a handout. When your empty gas empty, you could go and bring it to the rep, come in the constituency with a big pocket of money, pay cooking gas, pay light bill and water bill. I mean, in today's world, I never said if an MP want to do that, they cannot. but then you need to let in, a massive community like town like Viewfort that could have something to show of their own. You have this huge dock sitting there built by Daito, the Japanese, with no economic activity. So I would prefer to try somebody new, but I would not give Danny Butcher a vote, meaning because Danny echoed the very same sentiment that Kenny and Tony have. As a matter of fact, almost like Kenny and Tony prepare a speech for Danny to come and read on stage. So this is it for me, and that is what I have. Because I know in your chat room, I'm going to get plucked, but then that is my opinion, and I believe a lot of people in Viewfort that have planned to see Viewfort get off the ground. Not like what Danny said in one of his, he said it's time to take off. So if Viewfort did not take off at the time of Kenny, I don't think Danny Butcher can take off Viewfort right now. Viewfort need a new representative, a new kid on the block. Have a blessed day, my brother.
You too, sir. Thank you so much. People are confirming what I said earlier on regarding Sir John Compton being the MP for Miku North at the time that he passed away in 2007. Also in the NewsSpin WhatsApp group, somebody says there, I'm still wondering why the media or anyone else, they have not asked King or the SLP to explain this. The person continues, what is this administration's priority? 2 rallies costing almost $1 million, yet the police insurance premium is $600,000 in arrears. And the affairs of the police and their family is not important to this administration. It definitely does not seem so. That's according to a comment in the NewsSpin WhatsApp group. Good afternoon to you, Amanda. Let's find out what's happening in the NewsSpin chat room on Facebook as well as on YouTube. And of course, in just a bit, we'll continue with your calls at 452-2979 and WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Amanda, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, Newsspinners. A few comments from the Facebook chat room. A Newsspinner says, when you are feeding birds, a government giving handouts, you are actually depriving the birds of their purpose, and you are actually caging them and making them dependable on you in order for you to empower yourself and take their power from them, making them believe that you are their only way of surviving. Another commentary reads, this goes to show that Newsspin is a family and institution. God bless to all. Newsspinner says there, what is this administration's priority? 2 rallies costing almost $1 million, yet the police insurance premium is $600,000 in arrears. Aren't the affairs of the police and their families not important to this administration? It definitely does not seem so. Another commentary reads, Kenny tethered VA4. He has now handed it to Danny for him to butcher it. Poor job, VA4. Someone says here the hardbacks will still vote SLP. They are looking forward to the gas tanks, Pampers, galvanized sanitary pads. The emphasis should be on the young people to make the change. A commentary reads, why spend so much on rallies talking about what they intend to do when the government you represent is the administration in power currently? A Newsspinner says Viewfort has a plethora of potential, but the people and their representative has to first see that potential. Another commentary reads, when you do not know better, you think it's one. Shake my head. That's why Labour will win with so many myopic thinking people. What we expect. Shake my head. A commentary reads, if businesses start opening, he would say that the people have confidence in the government. So this would mean that the people have no confidence in this government. Someone says here, my friend, that's hypocrisy because nightlife is organized by the people, but the district representative of that community needs to make sure that the people are safe and protected and getting the security that they deserve. Promotion of nightlife in some communities were done by the district representative who were very involved in this kind of economic opportunity and jobs for the people. A Newsspinner says, using taxpayers' money uselessly and call it progress. Shake my head. A few comments here via YouTube. It reads, the police should vote for the UWP because all the high-powered guns in the hands of the so-called bad men and women could put a police officer in handicap. The UWP administration has insurance for you. A commentary reads, the VA4 people are under a spell that needs to be broken. A commentary via YouTube reads, KDA should be ashamed of himself for the deplorable state of the South. The people of VA4 should vote for change and upliftment, not empty promises. Commentary reads, VA4ians will continue to vote Labour just as people of Miku will continue to vote UWP. Neither of these places are developed as they should be. A new spinner says there I still cannot fathom why any individual who wants progress would continue to vote for someone who has failed VA4. Commentary says the list of plans outlined by Danny was so disappointing. Where is the economic activity? And the commentary reads, King Appa, I wish... No, it says... Appa, I wish you would be the mayor of the constituency, St. Lucian's, judge your looks, but I prefer a man like you representing me than those Harvard degree holders. The English gives me cramps. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. WhatsApp message. The caller who spoke yesterday about the representative in Viewfort South is 100% accurate. Dr. Anthony and the Labour Party should be held accountable for the underdevelopment there. She identified the square as the only project. That seems true. What is the monstrosity in the Viewfort Square? It appears sinister, much like his threatening comments targeted at Tommy Descott. Dr. Anthony and the government must be made to withdraw these threats. This is unacceptable. The spell must be broken. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. It says there, Kenny Anthony butchered V4. And another WhatsApp message. We, the people, are demanding for discourse, particularly among the top brass of the political parties. It is an opportune time to unveil the mess and undesirable state that we're currently in. As yellow is the code, the nation further development relies on good personality and visionary driven to take us where we should find ourselves a few years back. Suffice to say, for a nation which has produced 2 Nobel laureates, we advance towards showing the world why we should be the choice to be seen in our push at marketing ourselves in the hospitality industry. Let's settle for nothing less. Another WhatsApp message. I'm against the thought that government can't stop crime, but we have... Okay, I won't go into this one. Not appropriate. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. You're speaking on the air. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Okay. I'm all right. I'm great. Tim, what it is, I'm going to say it about Kenny Anthony, because I lived in Viewfort, I've been in Viewfort, I work in Viewfort, and I know it. Tim, before Kenny Anthony came into power, Viewfort was much better than the way it is now. Underneath Kenny Anthony mashed up Viewfort. Okay, the only thing that giving Viewfort a life now is SNS. Okay, in the tongue of Viewfort, not where you see Massey is and that. In the tongue of Viewfort is only SNS that is there to give Viewfort a life. Okay, long before Tim, we had some discourse just by the cemetery there, Green Lantern and the other one, I can't remember the other one name. Okay, Viewfort was alive. But by the time Kenny Anthony gets into power, Kenny Anthony mash up that completely. There is no activity. Kenny Anthony has not done nothing apart from the footpath he built Shantytown and wherever. Apart from that, Viewfort is dead, my brother. I'm telling you that straight. Okay? I'm telling the people of Viewfort, vote for Lady Lynn. Do not vote for that guy that just came in there. Do not vote because he'll take the same pattern of Kenny Anthony to destroy Viewfort underneath you all. Make a change, the Viewfort people. I'm calling on you all. Now, the other one thing, I'm going the other side. Tim, I'm calling on the Sufra people. Emma has destroyed us, and Emma has not done nothing for us Sufra. She was in Grosile, and she didn't do nothing for Grosile people. Now she can't come in Sufra and think that she can just come. Sufra people do not vote for Emma. I'm saying that live and direct. I'm putting water in my mouth to say that. Do not vote for Emma. I'm saying that, Tim. Tim, that is pussy that call you there, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for calling. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin. Still to come on the broadcast, facing a crisis of truth. We have some information to share with you. WASCO wishes to inform the public of an emergency shutdown of the Northern Network scheduled for today. It has already started 6 o'clock this morning. These works are necessary to facilitate the repair of a rupture on the raw water transmission line, estimated to be completed within 48 hours. During this period, Water pressure and supply to customers from Millet to Cap Estate will be affected. Upon completion of these works, consumers at higher elevations and at the end of the distribution line may experience additional delays. The public is therefore strongly advised to collect and conserve water where possible. For information on water trucking, please contact Wasco's North Control Room at 457-3958. That's 457-3958, 457-3960, 457-3960, 451-9812, 451-9812, or 482-0052, 482-0052. Wasco apologizes to its valued customers for an inconvenience caused as they work to restore regular service as soon as possible. Look out for updates on Wasco's website and social media platforms.
You know that feeling when you have an uncontrollable desire for fried chicken? That's the KFC. A substance that stimulates your senses to identify the aroma of our secret recipe or an extra crispy crunch from any distance. It's invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel it traveling throughout your body, taking control, all so you can enjoy a juicy bite of KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Viewfort at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, Viewfort, 454-6555.
Are you ready? Get set. Let's go green with NewsSelect. No more paper, no more mess. Easy billing, no stress. Use my account to pay online. Pay your bill at any time. Get the stress off your mind. No more standing in line.
Visit NewsSelect.com today and sign up to my account to pay your bill. Request a temporary or new connection or switch an account to your tenant's name. Do it all online.
Personal, paperless. Use the virtual service desk. Are you ready? Get set. Let's go green with NewsSelect.
At Flow, loyalty pays back. Big time. That's why we're rewarding our customers with $400 in vouchers. That's like 6 months off your mobile bill back in your pocket. Simply add mobile to your current home internet plan and claim your $400 in rewards today. At Flow, loyalty pays back. That's how we keep your rhythm flowing.
Chronic back pain, arthritis, spinal injuries, nerve disorders, even painful cramps. These conditions affect daily life, but you don't have to live with pain. Every day matters when it comes to your health. At La Clinique du Corps, we provide fast, accurate diagnosis with advanced GE-certified MRI technology and internationally recognized specialists. Our focus is safe, effective treatment that restores mobility, relieves pain, and gives you back your quality of life. Call 451-6559 today. 451-6559. La Clinique du Corps, because time is vital in health.
At First National Bank, we believe being first means putting you first. Your first home, we've got the mortgage. Starting your first business, count on our commercial loans. Dreaming of your first car? Drive it home today. Heading to college? Let's fund that first big step with a student loan. No matter the milestone, make First National Bank your first choice for all your loan needs. First in service, first in trust, first for you. Call us at 455-7000 or visit your nearest First National Bank branch today so we can help put you first. First National Bank, here for you.
It's coming. The brunch of the century. Welcome to Sunburnt. It's coming. Sunburnt.
But deeper than all of these crises is a bigger, more insidious crisis that is undermining our domestic and global institutions that have promoted order, peace, and prosperity. It is, my friends, the crisis of truth. Excellencies, when we lose shared truth, our communities, our countries, our global society loses their center of gravity. At first, the damage may seem quiet. Words bend and facts drift in the service of political point scoring. But slowly, over time, we descend into political tribalism. We develop alternative realities and we are unable to understand each other and communicate with each other because we lack a center. Then we grow suspicious of each other. In the absence of truth, trust deteriorates. And we see it all around us, in global forums, and indeed on the blocks and in the communities in our own countries. Trust between neighbors, trust between the governed and the governing, trust in our instructions, trust in our social order, trust in our health systems, trust in our global rules, governance structures. It all seems, in the words of Chinua Achebe, to be falling apart. When we lack truth and we lack trust, law becomes theater, news becomes spectacle, and science becomes just another opinion.
The Barbadian Prime Minister, the best Prime Minister in the world, Mayor Motley, addressing the UN General Assembly, talking about facing a crisis of truth. Let's continue with your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And let's see if we go through some of your comments in the chat room. Somebody says they're via WhatsApp, just trying to access this WhatsApp message. Good afternoon. In 2006, Sir John contested and won Miku North. He contested the seat against Silas Wilson of SLP and Pat Joseph as an independent candidate. After his death, Janine Compton won via a by-election. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message, and the person says they're via WhatsApp. Please bear with me, just trying to access it. Why is it in Viewfort that you are spewing your nonsense, even if it is being viewed worldwide? You always do your crap in Viewfort. Is it because you believe we are stupid, or because you know the educated SLPs in the Viewfort are still seeking prestige, following this brilliant guy who came to Viewfort in 1997 as a savior? So we thought then. The rest is history. Before the 1997 election, Sir John and the Minister for Health, Romanus Lancico, went to the EU to seek funds for what is now known as the OKEU Hospital. You came in as Prime Minister in 1997 and never continued the process. Sir John returned as Prime Minister in 2006, and with the Minister of Health, Mondesi, went back to the EU to beg for an extension of the funding, which was about to expire and will be taken from us, and to increase the funding since the price of building materials went up by over 200% due to the Gulf War. This hospital was initiated under the administration of Sir John in 2006 and 80% complete, as stated by Minister Mondesi when they were voted out in 2011. You had no choice but to complete when you returned in 2011 for the obvious reason that this state-of-the-art hospital was being built in Castries. Weren't you the first to call the state-of-the-art hospital in Viewfort a box and also a glorified polyclinic? Now you are giving us a glorified chicken coop, and you are calling it a state-of-the-art hospital. That was a WhatsApp message. And let's see if we have a call. Good afternoon to you, NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Amanda.
Good afternoon, caller.
And good afternoon, Mr. Pato, if you're listening too. Okay. Mr. Tim.
Yes, sir.
What I call to tell you. I listened to Mr. Danny Butcher, a clip of him. The man talk like he want to fit the whole of New York in Viewfort. You see? And I'm saying, after Kenny Anthony failed Viewfort people, but as an MP, as a PM, who is you, Mr. Butcher, in a way of, what I mean, who is you? Not listen to my point, to come and put that kind of plan on the table for the people. Lies that there, my brother. You was a pastor. You know, if Kenny Anthony was your friend or whatever, he was a pastor, you should have continued staying in church to pray for the Viewfort people or pray for the St. Lucian people, because you see Kenny Anthony how he left the country. And instead, you give Lady Lee a chance, the United Workers' Party, with that great 7 plan or points they have. You want to come and run a old record in the Viewfort people head. You know, you will do this, you will do that. Messier, when you all will stop lying to the nation, you all have to buckle up. You as a pastor instead, it's just like you in church and saying, hallelujah, praise God and bring the money. Now you're running a CD and saying you'll fit New York in Viewfort for your vote. My people of Viewfort, you all see what Dr. Kenny Anthony, how he collapsed Viewfort. It's time for us to stop that color thing. Just dipping on a little gas tank and a little pump, as they say. We need to work. You know, it's just like I donate a phone for Mr. Pato. Some people are, it's through I working, I could do that. If I had to depend on government to give me a little handout and I hear the cry of Mr. Pato, you think I could have given him a phone? We need to work and stop talking about labor and labor. Those people that don't know or don't understand the 7 plan the Prime Minister bring on the table, ask people, you know what I mean, ask them what that mean. Meet your friends and say, the Herr Shastny have a plan, a 7 plan, what that mean? And you'll see they're going to vote for it. Them Labour Party, please, we don't hate you all, but you all have bleed our country and make us suffer too much already. Step aside for United Workers' Party to push St. Lucia forward, especially Viewfort. Mr. Kenny Anthony, you passed the baton for a wrong man. I don't know if it's because of he was saying there will be no peace in Viewfort South. You passed the baton for a pastor. You should have passed the baton for the pastor to tell the pastor, continue praying in church. Don't pass no battle for the pastor to run the affairs of Viewfort. When you collapse Viewfort, bless up there, my brother. My fashion, man. All right.
All right, Connor. Thank you so much. And this is the gentleman who donated a phone to Pato, and we'd like to thank you again, my brother. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. And let us see if we have a WhatsApp message. No, we don't. Let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Tim.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Rick.
Well, this is fascinating. I don't know if it's human nature or what, but it's really fascinating.
452-2979, 452-2979.
Yes, Rick, there's something in the background. Take care of it first,
yeah,
please.
that was you.
Yes.
That was you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, we know how Kenny Anthony won, why he won in 1997. Okay, we know. We need not go over that.
Mm-hmm.
He was God then. So, Tim, what happened with all those years? Because he never lost an election, eh?
He lost, yes. Well, he never lost as an MP.
As an MP. We're talking about him strictly as an MP.
Right. He never lost.
He never lost as an MP. Why is that, Tim?
I guess the people loved him.
You see, I find this fascinating.
Let's put it this way, because maybe he was the people loved him, and maybe he mesmerized the people, he vaguely the people. You never know.
Well, do you think that he would have lost his ability to vaguely right now and love? Because I'm listening to the criticism.
And also, Rick, political parties sometimes, they believe that certain candidates are unbeatable. And they do not make the necessary investment, whether it's human resource or the finances.
I was going to that.
Yeah?
You beat me to it.
Yeah.
Too.
So they don't put enough energy and provide the people with the kind of alternative that will seem as, viable.
That is, I'm glad you said it, because I personally have watched over the years and seen how little effort has been put behind Kenny's EWP opposition in Viewfort.
Mm-hmm.
Very little. Even in his speech before his most recent, he talks about how close Dr. Mondesi came to meeting him.
Yes.
You know, but and the story is, the legend is that Mondesi did hardly any canvassing outside his office. I'm sure you heard that.
I have heard that, yes.
That's generally the view. But nevertheless, the guy won how many elections? What, 6? 5, 6?
What, 5?
He won all of those elections. The complaints that are being made right now were there then. I really don't know how to look at elections in this country. That's why I never really predict what is going to happen. But
and let me just take the opportunity to make a statement on that. I mean, why are people into the habit? Now you say that you can't predict general elections. And I agree with you. Why are people into the habit of saying this side will win and that side will win and this candidate will win? I mean, I just cannot understand it. And they cannot tell you that, based on the statistics, based on a study, based on a survey that was conducted, based on a poll, but it's just based on a feeling. I have a feeling. I have a feeling.
I'll tell you based on what? Both parties have made a big deal about the ability of Haitians to turn the tide for them. Both parties, leading guys in those parties, I've talked with them, are firm believers in Obia. Remember that vehicle that transit that went over at Monsignor?
Yes, after the funeral.
I mean, all we have to do is go back and see the videos of leading ministers of government explaining the voodoo of that, Don't forget we had special masters and everything for that in particular.
Yeah.
They even promised to put up a special monument to the missing Bolam because
Rick, if somebody were to tell me that I want the SLP to win, or I want the UWP to win, or I want that candidate, I could agree with that, but don't tell me that based on a feeling that you have that this party will win and that individual will win. And I want to cite an example for what it's worth. Some people are saying they're surprised when Guy Joseph lost his seat during the last general election. Okay, I was surprised too. But for me, that is a lesson. Don't give the impression that those candidates are so invincible that they cannot be defeated at the polls. And the same things now.
They do that. They do that as well. But even in Compton's Haiti, that applied,
Mm-hmm.
The normal thing. It's an interesting thing about Compton's election history. Most of the time, Compton was basically unopposed, I mean, Sarah Flood's father, who I knew very well, Mike, I forget his first name now. It used to be a joke. Even George Murray, the Labour Party, remember that?
Yes.
Those guys would appear as Compton's opposition on the day of elections, just so long as the Labour Party was there. In other words, just want to put in the record that the guy was opposed. But there was never any campaigning. It was taken for granted that nobody could move Compton. I suspect that's what happened in the case of Kenny, because the United West Party has never really put any serious effort or campaign strongly against Kenny Anthony. I mean, I also say there are two sides to that man, okay? And it's not right now. And since nobody has any kind of discussions here, debates, you don't get much chance to talk about the other side of the guy, except strictly his political side. You with me?
Yeah.
That's the party consensus. I mean, Kenny's record as being involved in political scandal stands supreme, Rochamel? In fact, even the first one, the one where Compton was put on the stand, that was a campaign promise, remember?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I believe that Kenny won that election, obviously, with a lot of UWPs converted to red shirts, because it could not possibly be all Labour Party people when you have 16-1,
Mm-hmm. Obviously.
With hardly any campaigning on his part, because the campaigning had been done by Julian Hunt. Okay, so most of the campaigning had been done by Julian Hunt, Pierre and all that stuff. So, but he came there and it's 16-1. But Kenny also has, to his record, Compton, I was making the point. Compton the minute Mallet was required to read, as it were, turn the throne speech into an indictment of John Compton, Prime Minister, whom Mallet had served as a deputy prime minister with for something like almost 40 years. It turned at least half of those people who supported Kenny, it turned them away from him. They saw it as vindictive, they saw it as wicked, unnecessary, and especially with the result of the inquiry proving it, more or less supporting the general feeling that it was totally unnecessary. I'm going to admit before anybody accuses me that I thought it was all, that's what immaturity does to you, and what what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, immaturity and that does to you. You oppose Compton, and at the time Compton and I were serious loggerheads, you may remember. So it was funny to me to see Mallet, his deputy, indicting him. But I have said 100 times since then that when I was a child, I did the things of a child. When you're a man, you could do childish things. That there was never anything funny about having Mallet do that. Serious consideration. It was vindictive. It was thoughtless. It was mindless, because you were setting a precedent. You were also further dividing people.
Okay,
I'm saying
but shouldn't Mallet have done the honorable thing and resign from the post of Governor General? Because you're reading the traditional throne speech, automatically you will say, my government, my government, my government. He knew that.
Tim, I tell you, that's one of my regrets in my working life here. But it wasn't my fault. Mallet refused to talk to anyone. It was his idiosyncrasy anyway. Mallet never told anybody why he read it, why he even stayed in office until when he came into office. He knew what was going to happen. Nobody knows why he did, but he did, and we don't know. He may say sense of duty if he wants to. Put sense of duty above personally. You can look good saying that. But whatever his reasons, I prefer to dwell on what motivated this really counterproductive thing, of which I was a spectator, applauding spectator part, and I regret that very, very much. It was stupid, it was mindless, it was thoughtless. So that is something that's a black mark on our history, a black mark on my journalism, if not complaining against it. Well, not complaining against it. I should have been wise enough and to see where that could lead. So I would have to include that. That was the first thing that probably took away half of Kenny's support in his first term. You can understand why. Because so many UWP supported him as the bright boy, the great white hope, and all that kind of stuff. They saw him as something good. There was a fantastic campaign. I have not seen a campaign in St. Lucia like that since then. Everything was solid for Kenny to make the change. Kenny was best placed in this country to make a change in St. Lucia. In fact, he joined in, and he joined in some element that made it worse. So now we move from Broom Cooper to Rochamel to Franwell to Grindberg to NCA to Impacts, give them a break for Christmas, and I could go on and on and on. All those things have been piled up on Kenny's record as a prime minister, as a politician, and yet he got elected, Tim. He got elected over and over. So now I listen to this now, and I'm thinking, this young man, who sounds like Kenny Anthony, by the way, he obviously has the preacher training and all the Jimmy Flicks, and Kenny does the same in the house as well. That guy's really a student of Kenny, if not an adoring of Kenny Anthony. I can see Kenny Anthony being in the room teaching him how to speak and how to read. Well, it's unfortunate because what this guy inherits, and he can't explain that, is the state of Viewfort. And yesterday, I think, at the meeting, Kenny Anthony, to my mind, although some people told me warning is a better word, but warning and threaten, if you look it up, are synonymous. Kenny threatened Tommy, a very popular young man, it sounded so awful, a guy of Kenny's age, threatening. He should be lecturing. It's threatening Tommy Descott. And why? The more important reason is why he's threatening the guy by saying to him, watch your tongue with me. Remember the accent you should play? Watch your tongue with me. I am still here. What the hell could that possibly mean? Especially when you are the mayor of Crime City. You know, your government made Viewfort Crime City. It has chosen, even on the eve of elections, not to remove the tag of escalated crime. What is it? What do you call it?
Escalated crime area.
Escalated crime area. Even on the eve of elections, it has, even for politics, it has seen no need to change its attitude to Viewfort, the government that you sit on. So he has to take the burden. So when Tommy said between so and so years, Kenny's accountable for the crime in Viewfort, why would he not be accountable for the crime in Viewfort? He's accountable for everything else in Viewfort. He's accountable for the square. He's accountable for the man. He's accountable for everything. In entertainment, you are the prime minister and rep for the area. How can you pick and choose what you're accountable for? And his very famous line about give the people a break for Christmas was not because they were making noise. There was noise pollution. It is because the crime was overwhelming to the point that the police were apparently incapable of handling it. And so he stood up publicly and pleaded with those people, give the people a break for Christmas, referring to the criminals. So how can he not be associated with that? And then it is election time. So when Tommy says you have to be held accountable for that, is that out of place?
Clearly not.
I don't see that. But that is what he was referring to. Watch your tongue. I am still here. And he suggested that I'm not talking about court. That is what I got the feeling out of it. In case you're thinking I'm talking about court, which would be stupid. I mean, Ken is a lawyer, but you're going to sue the man for saying he holds you accountable for what's going on in Viewfort when you were the rep. So he indicated, as I understood it, that he wasn't referring to court. But I am still here, and I will make you pay, which brought to mind against what he did to Alan Chasney. When Alan Chasney promised to have a serious investigation into Grindberg, remember that?
Yeah.
And he said right there that if Alan, and I paraphrase, that if Alan does in fact carry out that investigation, I will make sure you inherit the whirlwind. There has been no such investigation. So and so it goes. So it's very interesting hearing all that stuff, and I hope I'm around to see how that pans out at election time, or how the young guy, the new guy, how he handles that burden. Should be very, very interesting.
All right, Rick.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Wasco wishes to inform the public of an emergency shutdown of the Northern Network scheduled for today. It has already commenced from 6 o'clock this morning. These works are necessary to facilitate the repair of a rupture on the raw water transmission line, estimated to be completed within 48 hours. During this period, water pressure and supply to customers from Millet to Cap Estate will be affected. Upon completion of these works, consumers at higher elevations and also at the end of the distribution line may experience additional delays. The public is therefore strongly advised to collect and conserve water where possible. For information on water trucking, please contact Wasco's North Control Room at 457-3958. 457-3958. Also 457-3960. 457-3960, 451-9812, 451-9812, or 482-0052, 482-0052. Wasco apologizes to its valued customers for any inconvenience caused as they work to restore regular service as soon as possible. Look out for updates on Wasco's website and social media platforms.
Ouais, messieurs, pas jodi moi la ka espérer plein bon glow, hein. Si t'es la pani pressure. Moi ni tongue, moi ni glow, mais money pressure. Ou savez ça moi besoin? A pomme. Ça c'est bêtise. Moi ka aller ko Europa. Yo ni toute pomme pour toute condition. Qui pour kay, qui pour business. Yo ni pli mer pour y pomme cette ici. Yo ka ranger pomme aussi qui besoin service. Brand pump yo c'est Léo. Pump ça c'est Major. I bon tout bonnement. Tant si ten moins actuellement. Glo ka fante. Europa ni pump glo Léo under pour les nerfs, orange et gris. Visitez Europa ambassade Gozile. Les mots au téléphone 452 0763.
Essier, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Bouteille. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
Compagnie Courant Lucilec a informé le public là qui commençait mercredi 17 juillet, samedi 28 septembre l'année ici. Lucilec a une dernière phase campagne replacement mita. Ça c'est un pas en commitment compagnie Lucilec pour poursuivre bon qualité service qui sort avec reliable. C'est mita neuf là qui fait assurer courant qui servit miséré douette sans les ouais et compagnie Lucilec délivrer un service qui a un niveau standard qui haut. Pratique qui mita qui mérite replacer qui recevrait avertissement notice par moins qui 48 net temps et bien 2 jours d'avance. Et joie pour faire travail là, un technicien qui est habillé en uniforme Lucilec qui présente carte d'identité et replacer mita qui estimé qui durer moins qui 30 minutes. Et pour faire assurer tout bagaille marcher bien, Lucilec a encouragé les pratiques pour faire à l'aise pour y côté mita. Département service pratique Lucilec qui répond n'importe question et bien adressé concerne à sous replacement sémita. Adressé concerne nous pour département service pratique Lucilec à l'IMO téléphone 457 4440 et bien section mita à l'IMO téléphone 457 4607. Lucilec a remercié pratique pour coopération. La copoine exiport durant tant travail là qu'a continué.
Tired of sky-high bills and a planet on the brink? It's time to go green without burning your pockets. At First National Bank, we are here to make saving the planet affordable. Whether you're installing solar panels, purchasing a water tank, upgrading to an inverter AC, or buying a hybrid vehicle, we've got the green to help you go green. Fast approval, low interest rates, and Mother Nature approved. Your future self will thank you. Visit firstnationalbankonline.com or call 455-7000 for more information to help you turn your green dreams into clean realities. First National Bank, here for you.
It's in the feeling in our we talk. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping. Together going strong, no matter what we keep things flowing. Before we will go all in, our hands up in the sky, celebrating. Come let your rhythm flow.
You know that feeling when you have an uncontrollable desire for fried chicken? That's the KFC. A substance that stimulates your senses to identify the aroma of a secret recipe or an extra crispy crunch from any distance. It's invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel it traveling throughout your body, taking control, all so you can enjoy a juicy bite of KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Chronic back pain, arthritis, spinal injuries, nerve disorders, even painful cramps. These conditions affect daily life, but you don't have to live with pain Every day matters when it comes to your health. At La Clinique du Corps, we provide fast, accurate diagnosis with advanced GE-certified MRI technology and internationally recognized specialists. Our focus is safe, effective treatment that restores mobility, relieves pain, and gives you back your quality of life. Call 451-6559 today. 451-6559. La Clinique du Corps, because time is vital in health.
Yes. That was the Lucia Top 5 for Carnival 2025. Yes. Welcome back to Real Men Take Charge, guys. Real Men Check Up.
To all my listeners out there, visit a men's health clinic in your area today.
PSA checkups are now free.
It's private, it's quick, it's efficient, and convenient.
Music touches the soul, but health keeps the rhythm going. Fellas, it's time to check your PSA levels. It's free, it's simple, it can save your life.
Brothers, do you not know that your bodies are the temples of the Holy Spirit? Let us be wise stewards of our lives. Prostate test saves lives. Let us not wait until it is too late.
To be a champion, you need to show up for yourself. I'm encouraging every man to take the step. Get checked. Stay strong. Do it for the team. Do it for your family.
My daddy is a hero, and I want him around for a very long time. Daddy, if you care about me, please take care of your health.
I faced colon and prostate cancer head on, and I'm still standing. Early detection saved my life. If I can do it, so can you. Don't wait. Get tested. It's free, it's simple, and it will definitely save your life also.
Real men.
Real men.
Real men take charge.
Real men check up.
Need branded apparel that looks sharp and shows up on time? Welcome to Imprinted Designs, where every stitch counts. We specialize in custom embroidery and t-shirt printing for businesses, teams, events, you name it. From embroidered logos on polished Oxford shirts, available in a variety of colors for men and women, to bold, high-quality printed tees that turn heads, we do it all. Bring your own shirts or choose from ours. Small runs, big orders, rush jobs, no problem. At Imprinted Designs, we're built for speed, efficiency, and clean professional results delivered on time, every time. So if you want your brand to stand out, not wait around, come down to Imprinted Designs at the Valmore Plaza or hit us up at 451-2920 or email address imprinteddesignsSLU@gmail.com. Imprinted Designs, where every stitch counts.
The most monitored talk show in the world. Don't forget, coming up this evening, 8:30 on DBS television, the program News Maker Live. That's from 8:30. And my guest is the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Luke DeFreitas. He'll be my guest on this evening's News Maker Live. So he'll be speaking about the crime problem in the country, the gains being made by the RSLPF. We'll be speaking about Tyson, and, of course, a whole host of other issues. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, this election campaign, no Guy Volle, and no update about any cases so he can face the courts. St. Lucians, wake up. Let's find out what's happening in the chat room. Final report from you, Amanda, and then we'll have our NewsSpin question of the day. We have the NewsSpin news of the day, and a bonus we'll be hearing from Mr. Stevenson King.
Team, a few comments from Ali in the chat room. And NewsSpinner says, typical of the SLP building on lands they do not own. The government administrative building proposed and started building was on lands belonging to the NIC, not the Crown. So it started on the wrong principle, so do not come with that. A commentary, it serves some of the police right because they are partly responsible for SLP to be in government. And NewsSpinner says, wow, so much money for 2 rallies and schools are missing furniture and supplies. Hospitals do not have supplies. People are dying because they cannot afford medical treatment, and the list goes on. Shake my head. Another commentary reads, excuse me, SLP representatives seem to have realty boutiques with all those groceries for their constituents. Someone says, Appa, I think you should support Lady Lee and you should be the mayor of Viewfort. Commentary reads, Viewfort, what you left for the past 4 years was hardship. No jobs, no development, no opportunities, and no hope. No amount of fancy speeches, giveaways, and extravagant political rallies can change that. We both know that nothing will change under the SLP. It's hard for some of us to admit that, but that is the truth. We need change. We need to do something radically different to give hope to the new generation. The choice is clear. Look in the mirror. The change begins with you. And NewsSpinner says, Kenny did not kill Viewfort. Viewfort people killed Viewfort. Stop crying for these people. Poor Kenny. If Viewfort people had loved Viewfort, they would not. Kenny would be out of government a long time ago. Okay. A commentary reads, there's truly a crisis of truth in St. Lucia. It's an epidemic. Commentary says, in the absence of truth, trust deteriorates. Mia Amo Motley. Someone says, team, a GDP speech carried no weight for you at least. Play a little clip of his presentation. A NewsSpinner says, no one should stay in office more than 20 years because after a while they become complacent. A commentary reads, many mature politicians place duty and country above politics. This revealed more of Kenny Anthony than anyone else. A few commentary via YouTube reads, you all only gave Alan Chasney only 5 years, but yet still St. Lucians wants a miracle from him, even though he had to deal with a pandemic. Commentary reads, Viewfort just needs to replay the past 28 years and it will be very easy to decide the right candidates. Commentary says, Viewfort needs effective leadership. Viewfort has much space to develop and progress. The retardation is unbelievable. Commentary via YouTube reads, St. Lucians have become racist just because of political affiliations, and this is very sad for the island we call home. And NewsSpinner says, I am yet to understand why the police officer's insurance has not been paid, one job that shouldn't even be questioned. Commentary via YouTube reads, it seems the SLPs are the cleanest and transparent party down here because I do not understand why people are so blinded. And the commentary via YouTube reads, team, I hope in the future that there will be a more working integrity commission. That's it from me, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for that final update from you. WhatsApp's message, somebody says there, the same road where the triple murder occurred recently, I see Moses Jabatis grading there with heavy equipment. And now we have a bonus. Let's hear from the MP for Castries North, and he is Mr. Stevenson King, speaking about leaving the United Workers' Party with decency.
They've called me snake, and and I say to people, my decision to leave the United Workers' Party was one which I did with decency. Once the Prime Minister decided to call the election, I wrote him a letter. And one of these days I'll read the letter. I wrote him a decent letter indicating I am unavailable at this time to run on as a candidate for the United Workers' Party. That was it. So in other words, I'd served my term. And I took a decision, a very bold decision, to run as an independent candidate. Okay? That decision was calculated properly, well calculated, based on the political environment. And I ran as an independent candidate. I won. Okay? I didn't run as a UWP candidate. Take the votes and walk across the floor.
Like Neville.
Like Neville Snack did.
Yeah.
I took my time and
you give them time to get the candidate, and they had a candidate.
I endured all of what that came to me, that was thrown at me during that period of time for 5 years and months going.
But how did you deal with it though?
To me, for those
someone who was in there told me about you. They said, boy, You went through a lot.
Yes, indeed.
Especially with Guy.
Yes, indeed. And you know, there are those who call me lazy and all sorts of things, so, and I'm not working, I'm not producing. You see, the thing about it, you know, I'm a very silent person when I'm working. You know, I say to people, you go into a Chinese restaurant and everybody's working. The only thing you hear noise from are the utensils.
Yep.
You go into another restaurant, people are talking. You hear them talking in the kitchen, etc. When I'm working, I'm working.
He says, I left the UWP with decency. Just heard there from Mr. Stevens King during an appearance on the NBC program Zafenu earlier this week. We have our NewsSpin question of the day. The NewsSpin question of the day reads, why are we facing a crisis of truth, as was recently claimed by Prime Minister Mia Mottley? Why are we facing a crisis of truth, as was recently claimed by Prime Minister Mia Mottley? And we have the NewsSpin news of the day. NewsSpin news of the day reads, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines agreed to landmark pact, which as of today lets citizens live and work freely across their borders. Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines agreed to landmark pact, which as of today allows the citizens to live and work freely across their borders. The NewsSpin news of the day. And don't forget, this evening, join me at 7 o'clock for the DBS News World, and at 8:30, Newsmaker Live. My guest is the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Luke DeFreitas. My name is Timothy Poleon. See you tomorrow, God willing, same time, 12:30. Goodbye.
NewsSpin calling, 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 calling. NewsSpin calling, 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 calling. NewsSpin calling, 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 calling. Across the land, all across the world, echoes of voices, we join hand in hand. Harmony rise in the afternoon sun. Come along, NewsSpin has begun. NewsSpin is the best, better than all talk show, most monitored talk show in the world. Truth from St. Lucia to sandy shores, from cities and hills to the Caribbean breeze. We sing together, hearts at ease, education to open every mind. Learn about your country, leave no one behind. When NewsSpin is on your radio, come along hands in hands, voices in unity, singing loud. NewsSpin, news the best, better than all talk show, most monitored talk show in the world. St. Lucian's heart to the world's every land. Knowledge unites us hand in hand. Yeah, Tim on NewsSpin call, bridging gaps between us all. Voices lift on high, under one sky we unify. Tim on NewsSpin call, bridging gaps between us all. Voices lift on high, under one sky we unify. NewsSpin is on education for all, from city streets to mountains tall. Learn your history, share your dreams, together we light the world with our flame. NewsSpin is the best, better than all talk show, most monitored talk show in the world. Better than all talk show, most monitored talk show in the world. NewsSpin is the best, better than all talk show, most monitored talk show in the world. Yeah, NewsSpin is the best, better than all talk show, most monitored talk show in the world.